Good morning. It's Andrea. Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are, however you are. My heart to you, truly, my heart to you. Uh, so this morning I went on a beautiful walk. I've been recovering from my trip to Miami, and not really recovering. I wasn't sick or anything, but definitely just bouncing back from the big energies that are, you know, needed to travel uh, and to show up in your full heart and be very spacious. And so um, there's been a lot that's happened over the last few weeks, and so I'm going to kind of just give a high level view of some of those things in this video, and then I'll dive into them more in detail in other segments. But um, so yesterday was Christmas. Christmas is a day that is celebrated in different ways by different people. You know, going back to the ancient uh, pagan holidays and traditions and rituals, and then sort of grabbed up to bring in the celebration of the birth of Yeshua or Jesus, even though it wasn't the true date of his birth. Um, and I will be exploring at some point here in the near future, sort of some of that. I spent a lot of years studying who he is, and how that affected my life, and how it's affected the lives of many. And so I'll dive into some of that. Uh, but so two things that I want to mention for sure in this video. So if you don't know, I do healing work and transformation work, and I've been at this a while, a long while actually. And one of the things that's so wonderful is when we tap into our own ability to really self-heal. And everything I do, it's in support of those who would prefer to have someone help them along the healing journey. Sometimes it speeds up the process. I have other healers and practitioners that I swap sessions with regularly, because it's nice to just receive now and then. And so anyways, last Friday, not this most recent one, but the one before that, so I guess maybe the 17th, I was preparing um, for my trip to Miami, and I was doing some good heart work beforehand. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning. I was seated on my couch, and I was just in the biggest flow of pure divine source energy that I had been in a very long time. And the notion came to me that I needed to pour a bath, so pour a hot bath, and get in and uh, work on my vision, on my eyes, on my physical eyes. And I mean, oof, this body could hardly contain all of the pure bliss, love energy that was flowing through me. And I'm going to get into some of this later on in other videos, but the work that I've been doing um, with running that energy through the water, but water is an amplifier and a message carrier and so many things. It has its own consciousness, and it also carries consciousness, much like you and I. We are water, and so we have both our own sort of consciousness and the consciousness of this body. But so what happened? I've been wearing reading glasses since I was maybe late 30s, maybe 40, I don't know. the years pass by fast. Anyways, I had LASIK surgery, I think, when I was about 36. And then a few years later, I had to still get reading glasses um, in order to read closely. And that's over the last year or so, I've noticed that, like, the how much light there is. I couldn't even squint in the last year to make out most of the words. Um, I wasn't like super far along. I wore a 1.25 uh, grade in reading glasses. It wasn't terrible, but I thought that's probably about to shift up to the next level. And I noticed that it was getting harder and harder with dim lights. And so I set the intention. I've worked on my eyes a few times and not really noticed anything. Uh, excuse me. And so I went in the tub. I went in the bathtub and I did some healing work on my eyes. And when I got out of the tub, and I will go into a video, like I said, later, really diving into what that looks like and how I did it. But I did this healing work in the bathtub, really amplifying it. And when I got out of the tub, and the tub isn't necessary, it's a luxury. It's where I feel most like myself. I'm not in the sky yet, so water is as close as I can get. And when I got out of the tub, I reached for a pill bottle. It was some vitamin C. I reached for the bottle of the vitamin C, and I could read every word, even the fine print. And I haven't been able to see anything in the fine print in a long time. Sometimes even with the reading glasses, I'm like, who are these people who write this stuff? Nobody can read it. That's what I've been saying for about 6 months. And I could read all of the words, all of the letters. And so it's been a week, and each day I send a little more love to my eyes, claiming clear vision without the need for amplification. And whether that part's necessary or not, it feels really good. And so yeah, it's been a week. I traveled. My eyes were in different climates. It was a little, a lot of, I don't know, soreness, the little swelling, right? Different pollens, whatever. But overall, it's been pretty tremendous. Pretty tremendous. I received the gift, the miracle of vision, clear vision. I received it and I accepted it. And so I've only told one other person about this outside of my wife, and she kind of thought I was crazy. She's used to my craziness, right? But then she realized that it was in fact true, and so now we will work on hers when she is ready. And I think a person has to be not ready, has to be prepared. There are no guarantees to anything. This is just what happened for me. And so that is miracle number one that happened in the last week. And so the second, let me take a sip of water here. The second, I have known for a very long time the work I came here to do in this lifetime. And I've done it in kind of small ways. Small but big, right? Always showing up in my authentic self, my authentic state of love as much as possible. I still fight, but not from the perspective that a lot of people fight. I fight with my wife now and then, or my parents now and then. But it's not it's different, I guess. It's more out of a sense of frustration most of the time. Anyways, that's part of my human design, frustration more than anger. Um, yeah, and I have a lot that I need to share, and so I'll be doing that. In fact, well, we're going to talk about two more things. So the first, let's talk about, excuse me, when I was in Miami, I was there for an event, a very beautiful, beautiful event, bringing in the solstice, bringing in the light, in the 5D grid, the fifth dimensional grid, the dimension of love into the world. Doing this with about 300 other people. It was right there in the same space, and then people all over the globe, all over the world, all over the cosmos, I imagine. Um, uh, Beings on every plane and dimension were part of this ceremony. And one of the things we did was a beautiful clearing and aligning of the chakras. And this was deep, 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 deep work. Some of the deepest, I think, that I've done. It was a very simple technique, but the clearing ability, and when you amplify that with hundreds of people and probably thousands of people all around the world, well, it's deeply personal. It's also our energies together, resonating right next to each other, bodies next to bodies, the physical, the heart space. We were doing this beautiful work. And so my work in the last many months has been about the root and the sacral chakras. And I'm about to roll out some programs starting in January around this work. Really all of it, but that's where the deepest work, both for myself and my clients, has been. It seems like everything is coming back to that point. Once we can work to clear and balance and align these, it's necessary in order for us to really shift into the heart space completely, and to ground, to be able to bring heaven and earth together and kind of blast out our heart space. And that's what I'm here for, to bring heaven and earth together, the physical and the spiritual, the etheric and the elemental together. And so I've been doing deep, deep, deep work for my lineage, for my bloodlines, for my physical heritage. This is an understanding that's come to me, I don't know, probably, it's kind of been in the last couple of years, but and I've alluded to that in other videos, healing one, healing many, you know. But this was tremendous. I received, excuse me, I received probably the deepest healing that I've had. The first time that I've received healing for it from outside of myself. And so I'm very grateful to all who were at the festival, holding that space together. What happened, we started with the root chakra, and the root, you know, in the body, imagine the space between the perineum, so the area between the genitals and the anus, and then sort of a line all the way down to your feet, right? That we can do a lot with the root to ground. But what happened is that area started to there was immense pain in that area, really deep. And I was like, okay, breathing through it. And I allowed it to be, allowed my body to soften in order to let go, to release. Uh, and then we moved into the sacral. And the sacral, so the sacral is sort of the area of the area of like your sexual organs and the womb, and it has a lot to do with creativity and sexuality and expression and so much more. And it really, that was lighter. I've done a lot of work around that area. It was a lot lighter. And then the navel chakra. So some say the navel chakra is the solar plexus. Some say it's the sacral. Um, at the end of the day, it's all one, right? This system. But for me, I will just call it the navel chakra at this point. And what happened is it was literally at my navel, at the belly button, and this fierce, fierce pain. Now, I've had some pain over the last 2 months as I've been dealing with a lot of this release. Yeah, it's often like almost like a stabbing pain, a piercing pain through the belly button area. And what happened in there, it literally felt like somebody had stabbed me in the belly button. The pain was so fierce, so immense. And I kept breathing and breathing and breathing. And as you're doing that, what I had to do was continue to allow the back, the kidney area, and the lower abdomen and the hips and the pelvic region to just open up completely and keep working through it. And I'm going through this, my belly button is just like in excruciating pain, and I'm starting to cry, and the rest, we're continuing to go up the chakras, and sacrum and solar plexus and heart and throat and third eye and crown, and it was a tremendous experience. But what happened, I laid there as I was going through all of these others, allowing this to release and integrate. And what happened during that ceremony is that I recognized that it was literally the umbilical, the etheric or energetic umbilical cord that was tied to my physical body. So I know that I chose this body, this lineage of people, this family on both sides, my mother's side and my father's side, for many reasons. So there's fierceness in these people, fierce love. It's taken a lot, quite honestly, to hide their love and their light, and a lot of addiction, a lot of self-doubt. There's a lot to it. You might be experiencing some of this in your family as well, but I love these people on both sides. I know my father's side better than my mother's side, but I love these people, and I love that I came in to experience them and for them to experience me. We've had a lot of fun together. We've also had a lot of pain together, but in that moment, in the ceremony, the release that came was the ending of my agreement. And at first I thought it was sort of a soul agreement or a soul contract directly with my parents, and I've never felt that there was one. That's not to say there isn't one. I've just never felt that there was like an agreement to come in, and maybe there is, maybe there was, but this was really truly more about the whole bloodline, the whole bloodline, to clear old energy, ancient energy, um, and to bring in some lightness and some levity and some joy. And like, I know there's more to it, right? But I've known in the last year especially that this had to be done now. And I don't know why. I don't know the outcome. I don't know if it's just for me so that I can continue to be embodied in a higher frequency, uh, like in this body. Those answers have not arrived yet. All I knew is that there was work to be done, and I've done it. And so now that's why I'm getting ready to share with you guys how to do that as well, and just give some beautiful tools to do it. And I'll be rolling that out, like I said, in January. There will be an in-person workshop here on January 8th, here at my home, and that'll be, up to about 10 or 11 people. And then I'll be doing it also online. That detail, I'm still working out the date. So anyways, if you're interested, you can always email me. But okay, so both of those, I mean, you talk about miracles, baby. That those were tremendous. Those were tremendous. Receiving clear vision in my physical eyes, receiving a release from the contracts that I've had with this little body, and where she comes from. And so, yeah, it's been a pretty good week. Yeah, and so all that to say, if you're working through some of this, and you'd like some support, I work with clients individually, with students. My job is to empower you, to give you tools, and also to be of service if you need someone to do that with you and for you. So I'd love to connect. Yeah, I'm going to leave it right here. This is a beautiful place to end. There'll be more videos. My goal is to roll out more of this at least multiple times a week. I'm not super great with saying every day. It might be and it might not be. So have a beautiful, beautiful end of the year. I will see you very soon in the next video. The next video, what I want to actually talk about, I'll go into a little more detail, like I said, about what it looks like to the process that I did with my eyes. And then another video that I'm going to be getting into, because this has been one of the themes that I've been navigating most of my life, is integrating sexual energy. It was kind of the curse of my life, and it's taken me a long time to feel like I could even talk about this. And so it's going to be some simple techniques. I was lucky. I was very fortunate to cross paths with some people who helped me clear a little bit of this, or a lot of it, all of it, and to put me in a place of pure love and connection, and also a deeper understanding of what we call sexual energy, or it's your chi, it's your prana, it's your life force. It's life force. And sometimes we just get really, really confused about it and how to use it well, and in a way that's satisfying and beautiful and connecting from the heart space, and that feels great. So anyways, those are a couple of videos that are going to be coming up this week. I also have a lot to share about when I did my merging with my higher self. And this is, so what's come through this week really, as I was driving down, it was made abundantly clear to me that I have not been sharing the messages that I've received. I thought they were personal, and as somebody pointed out, the personal is usually the best place to share from. And I know this, I tell people this all the time, but this felt really personal, right? Like I was still learning what it meant, still trying to understand. Another video that I'm going to be doing, and this is a thing I'll leave on, is sort of the stages of awakening. There's awakening, and then there's integrating. And these are, I got lost for a very long time in the, uh, one of the issues, right, was self-worthiness and self-doubt that I had to navigate in my family lines on both sides. Most people, I think, struggle with this at some point. And so, yeah, knowing that you are awake or awakening, and then being able to integrate it fully into your life when everything's been turned upside down. That is the work of mastery. Awakening is the first level, and then we begin to learn how to use that while we're still here in the physical. In the Buddhist texts, they talk about the 10 bhumis, and so that's the 10 levels of awakening leading up to enlightenment. And so I'm going to do a separate video about that, but I've been navigating, I guess, the 10 bhumis for quite a while. And it's been very private, and now I'm ready. It's kind of it's something that I'm here to share about. And so what that's looked like for me, and that's where I share most things from, what it's looked like for me and what I've learned along the way. So be well, beautiful, beautiful soul, beautiful heart. You are not alone. You are loved. And we walk this together as one. So, beautiful day to you.